Okay, any views expressed are the opinion of the guest. It's not a representation because the programming reflects that Politickin with 4 eyes. It's really no competition. Suffocating with the dope, you know I be twisting. Real ninjas out in the field, now we cotton picking. Not to mention our intention to cover topics and many of the subjects. I got more lines than the deli at the Publix. With King Pharaoh, PoPolitickin, I'm pistol whipping. Rappers jeopardizing hip-hop position. My opposition, intuition, prediction like writers on The Simpsons. To witness the glimpses from higher up dimensions. My bitches be fighting gremlins like Phoebe Cates. Let me cook, stovetop oven, easy bakes. Hydroponic with them seaweed flakes. Yeah, these rappers started from the bottom, power bottom. TD Jakes, unfollowed. Talking about have you ever been swallowed? Regardless of race, color, or creed, you get Apollo. We politickin, ticking, we straight politickin, ticking. When it's a great show, you got to listen to that politickin, ticking. This for the politickin, ticking. We straight politickin, ticking. When it's a great show, you got to listen to that politickin, ticking.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com, your home for self-help meets hip-hop. Right now, we're live on YouTube, Twitch, and X. We're checking you out on Spotify and Apple Music. 1212, I'm place to be with, like I said, man, generational icon, man. Movies, television, comedian, rapping.
Come on.
You say you be juggling, too. You say you be juggling.
I do tattoos on the side, man. I do everything.
One and only. Omar Gooding, how you doing, bro?
Blessed and highly favored. Yourself?
I'm good, man. I was saying, man, it's kind of like, man, I remember you from Wild and Crazy Kids. So I remember you from back in the day, bro. So, like, I done grew up with you, or you done grew up. I done grew up with you. You don't know me, but I done grew up with you.
I grew you up. No, I get it.
Yeah, like, damn, man, I remember you from back then, and I'm just like, that was big for me watching Nickelodeon because, you know, back then, in that time, that's when that shit was really dope. And I just remember seeing you, and I was like, damn, you know, you see a black person you doing that shit, kind of like, so I might be doing this because of you. You know what I'm saying? You never know. It's deep like that.
Respect. Yeah. I mean, that's how it was too, man. I run into a lot of people, and they say that, man, I grew up watching you. You're my whole childhood. And I was like, well, I was a child too. So that was also my childhood. It's not like I was an adult doing kid shows. I was a kid as well, you know, so I kind of grew up in that same era. I remember watching like Double Dare and you know, getting slimed and all that, and you know, and then to have the opportunity to be on Nickelodeon was big for two reasons. One, because it was, you know, something that I used to watch as a kid, you know, and then, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old, and then to be 12 years old, and I was able to help my family financially as well. That was the double win for me.
And then I think it's like the Mandela, what they call it, Nelson Mandela effect. Because some people think they be thinking, they was like, oh, he was on Salute Your Shorts. I know he was on Wild and Crazy Kids.
Yeah.
But I was rocking with both of them. Like I said, I was in that era too. Then
I mean, I didn't know, man. It's funny now when I travel and stuff, and I see people go up to me. You'd be surprised. You would think that Nickelodeon was like a white thing. That's what you would think. But brothers, sisters, you know, all shapes and colors and creeds, be like, yo, man, I wanted to be on that show. I had this one brother tell me, I wrote to you directly a letter every day to Omar Gooding where they said to write letters to, and you never responded. I always wanted to be on the show. I was like, I never got your letter. Right? I would have told you this is what you got to do, and you know, because we were picking kids at random. We weren't like, you know, choosing. Kids would just show up, like, yo, be here if you want to be on the show. Throw on this color shirt, and we would just, you know, make it happen. So, but it's deep though to see how many people my career has touched over the years. It's really dope.
And then I was like doing some research, checking out a lot of your past interviews, and I noticed something. I was like, most of the time you was repping the Lakers. So I was like, he must be a real diehard Laker fan.
Diehard.
So
purple and gold, I bleed it, man. I know all the history. You know, I followed all the players, and it, you know, again, being an entertainer from a young age in an entertainer's household. You know, my father wasn't around a whole lot. It was my mother raising us, and you know, that had an effect on me, like with sports. It wasn't like my dad's watching the game, and so we all became such and such fans. That just wasn't it. So I didn't really get into sports until I moved out, got my own place, and had roommates. And then it was like, what are we watching? They're like, oh, we watching the Laker game. Fool, what you think we watching? And it was like, oh, Lakers, huh? Okay, this is what's up. I'm like, yeah, nigga, you don't know about the Lakers. And then I took a bigger interest, and I went to Thailand for 13 weeks. And I remember my girlfriend at the time got me a box set of the history of the Lakers. And I was out in Thailand by myself, so I just watched everything. How we were the very first franchise and learned about Mike and then the first, the first championships that we won, and then coming over here. That's why people say Lakers. Why LA Lakers? It's from Minnesota. We actually, Minneapolis, the lakes. They had lakes out there. Now, we just kept the name and then the legacy, and always winning. I didn't even know that the buses weren't that wealthy until we sold the team just recently for $10 billion and said, no, we got money. I was like, I thought we always had money. Like, no, we got it now, though. So
let me ask you, so since you're a historian, what's your favorite era of the Lakers?
Mine is the era that I really grew up in, which is Kobe and Shaq. It just was, man. I mean, you had Shaq, who was just so absolutely dominant. When he was out there, he was unstoppable. We weren't concerned. We never lost the game because he missed a free throw. He would get under that basket, and we know, just get it to him and we good, And then Kobe, who is just phenomenal. He studied the greatest basketball player of all time, which was Michael Jordan. He studied this man, emulated him, and then made it his own and took all of the important parts and aspects of his game, his drive to win. You look at players now who complain about stuff, and I would always say, Kobe would never. That's what I always say. You know what I mean? Look at that. Kobe wouldn't be sitting there whining about a call. He'd be mad, and he galvanized the whole team. He'd get in everybody's ass and hold everybody accountable and go out there. And then you see he get injured, shoots 2 free throws with a tore Achilles, limps off, and then goes into
that was wild.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that era was crazy, but it wasn't instant success. Him and Shaq got here. This boy was shooting air balls. And I'm remembering that going,
Chucking.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is supposed to be the future, and he's shooting air balls, and it just made him better. The man broke his right arm and then developed the left. Like, the man was just phenomenal. He's my favorite player of all times, but I use the word favorite and greatest differently because, I think Jordan, he didn't have anybody to emulate in my mind. I mean, I'm sure he was inspired by whoever he watched, but he became that monster on his own, where Kobe saw that and became a different monster. So that was my favorite, but that's not to knock Magic. Magic is a close second, the Showtime Lakers with just what they did as a team. That's my favorite team of all. You know what I mean? The way they would pass and share the ball and oh man, that was awesome. But just growing up, watching Kobe and Shaq, play together and hoping that they would have been able to work out their off-court differences and stay together longer. Who knows how many they could have won.
Yeah, so I'm in SoCal. I'm in San Diego County. So they got that local Lakers channel that I'll be watching sometime. Like
yeah.
So I want to know the Fox Sports one. So I want to know your top 5 Lakers all time.
My top 5 Lakers has to be I said it, my first 2 is Kobe, Shaq, and then it would go Magic, Jerry West, and Wilt.
Okay. Yeah. And you like the way how you think they're gonna be this year?
As a Laker, you always believe you have a chance to win. Oddly enough, last year was the only year, and it went better than the previous years, 3-4 years. It was the only year that I started the year with 0 expectations last year, because I was just like, I don't know what the hell this is going to be. Obviously, we hadn't made the Luka trade yet. We had a coach. I can't believe that we keep hiring coaches that have never been a head coach before. Like, I'm just like, this is the Lakers. What are we doing here? But he exceeded expectations, in my opinion. He didn't have any chinks in the armor until the playoffs, where he refused to rest our players for the second half. I was like, what are you doing? I mean, going into the fourth quarter, we have a lead. Rest them now. Don't just ride. Like, it's never been done for a reason. And then he didn't own up to it. I loved every answer that he gave after every game. Whenever a reporter had a question, he had an answer, which made him better, in my opinion, than our previous coach, Ham. Ham would say things like, they're figuring it out, and I've got a great staff, and blah, blah, blah.
He said salute.
Salute. But, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But I felt like he had an understanding of everything going on basketball-wise as a head coach, except, again, his one chink in his armor was that he didn't own up to that. You know what I mean? He was upset that he pulled it off, but he was mad when they brought it up. I'm like, that's what the press is going to do. So I'm hoping that he learns from that. I'm sure he'll never try that shit again. But expectation-wise, I believe we can win it all. I can say that with a straight face. I believe we can win absolutely all of it because we're now entering into the Luka era, and I'm excited for it. When we were entering into the LeBron era, I changed my mind quickly, but I did not want, I'm a Laker that did not want LeBron James because I'm a Kobeist, true and true. And they said, and I got a real good friend, Marcus Nash, who was a coach. He's coached Gilbert Arenas. He's coached a lot of kids from high school on to the pros and so forth and so on. And he's like my insider. He knows a lot of people. He knows the buses. He knows a lot of people. So anyway, so Marcus was like, we get LeBron. And we had a debate. He's one of my best friends. Known him since high school. And I was just like, hell no. LeBron ain't coming here. We don't want him and this, that, blah, blah, blah. And LeBron came. And I was like, okay, man, you was right. And it went from me not liking the guy, like the way I didn't like Jordan because I was a Laker. So I didn't like how he kept beating us or whatever. And then, when I saw LeBron, they just gonna crown him the king. And I only watched him 3 or 4 times a year. You know what I mean? The 2 times we played and maybe he came. As a Laker, I watch 82 Laker games every single year. That's what I do. So I know my players. I don't really know the rest of the league's players as intimately as I know my players. But now I've had a chance to watch LeBron James for 82 games and a couple of preseason games to throw in there. And I'm going, whoa, I get his physical attributes. I get the type of player. He's probably the greatest basketball athlete we've ever seen. His basketball IQ, I'm kind of torn because I get it. He knows all of it, but his temperament is what bothers me. And it bothers a lot of people. He complained. He's lost games because he was so upset at a call. That bothers me. However, now that I've got to see half a season of Luka, to me, my biggest things are playing under emotion is tough. My biggest tip of the cap to LeBron James was in the toughest year that I've ever experienced as a human, which was a lot of people can relate, which was 2020, when first of all, Kobe Bryant dies. Then we have the pandemic and then George Floyd. Very emotional year, very tough. And when LeBron James stood up in front of Laker Nation, and I still don't consider LeBron James a Laker. He's LeBron James. That's just what it is. He's been to many different teams. But for him to address Lakers the way he did and speak from the heart about Kobe, he held the reins. I said, okay. I said, I'm with you, bro. Let's go. And then they went on to win that championship for Kobe. Y'all can call all that and whatever you want, bubble, all that, blah, blah. We can talk about that forever too. But when we had to play a game under the emotion and the weight of that, we couldn't come together and play, right? So I said all that to say the Luka thing, I think he was embarrassed, humiliated. He couldn't believe that the team he thought he was going to play with his entire life traded him away over whatever it was behind the scenes, right? Then he returns home, watches the tribute, has tears in his eyes, is overwhelmed with emotion, and drops a 45 piece. Could have went for 50. I said, that's a special boy. He's going to do great things, and we can get behind that. Now he's gotten shape, which is to say he could have just did like Shaq did, my favorite big man of all time. So just said, don't worry about off season. When I get on the court, I'm going to do my thing.
That's when I'm supposed to be in the shape? Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to play myself in the shape. And I can relate as a bigger guy. It takes a lot. Like, that's going to drain. I've seen boxers get messed up by trying to drain all that weight and then have to fight and then be like, ooh, well, I was depleted. Maybe I'll stay at my weight next time. But Luka has shown me mental fortitude. He's shown, oh, this is what y'all say my problem is? Cool. No excuses. He's got 0 excuses. We add a couple of big men. I like the big men we added because we don't need, in my opinion, another, a Shaq or Giannis or blah, blah, blah. Sure, we'll take it, but I don't think that's what we need. We still have LeBron James, who's going to attract a lot of attention. That's going to help with ball movement and so forth. You have to pay attention to LeBron James. We've got some key role players who got a little bit less on them. And then you got this superstar kid who's in his prime with nothing but something to prove. Nothing but something to prove. You know what I mean? So I definitely think sky's the limit. And then we got a coach who's also got a chip on his shoulder because of his big mistake. I think if he didn't have that mistake, he wouldn't be able to grow from it. He'd have been a little too cocky, like, we did our thing. I didn't make any mistake. No, you made a mistake, and it was costly right at the end. Luka did the best he could. with what he had, and now he's fully vamped for a full season. I can't wait. Come on. I've already made my bets. I don't see us losing this year. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Maybe we can stay healthy. I always say that. If you can stay healthy, there's no excuses.
Now I heard you say boxing, so I want you to talk about the Canelo Crawford match a little bit.
What a great! Oh my God! And it's a perfect time.
And it's on Netflix, I think.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. What a great time for you to ask me about this. I would have said prior to a conversation I had with another good aficionado friend of mine, Curtis Ellison, who's a business partner of mine, loves boxing. He's like, if I miss a match, did you see this fight? He's seen it. And we had not a debate, but he kind of set me straight because I was like, why would Canelo take this fight? But this man, Bud, is going to beat the brakes off him. He looked at me like I was a damn idiot. And he made me go, well, damn, I'm glad I didn't place any bets. Right now, in my headspace, I can't wait to watch it. Bud is the type of player, athlete that I would never bet against, right? So he's got that. I'm not placing no bets either way. Canelo has my respect. So I still think Bud is going to win, but I don't think it's going to be when I first heard of the fight, I was like, what is wrong with this dude? There's no way Canelo wins this, but I think it's going to be an outstanding fight. I believe it goes the distance because I don't think Bud can knock him out or down. I think he's strong enough. Like, you got to think, why would Canelo take it? And he's a very, very intelligent fighter, if nothing else. So you're going to go, okay. So he knows that he can't get knocked out by this guy. It's like why he took the Mayweather fight. Yeah, Mayweather beat him, but he couldn't knock him down or out. I think it's in that same world. So I'm very excited to see it. I think Bud wins by points or maybe even a split decision.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'll be watching. How they got the experts and they be talking about the fights. So all of them talk about Canelo's size because Canelo fought at light heavyweight. So, and then Crawford going up like 2 weight classes, but I don't know. Until Crawford, he showed me a lot in that Spence fight.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that, and Spence ain't even been back since. So that shit just
I agree with you completely, and I think the only thing too that I have to think that it was a little bit more that Spencer got more messed up by that car accident than we thought. I think he was a little more damaged than we thought because that was a little too one-sided. Like, that was a complete ass whooping, and it just made you go, what the hell? Like, is Bud that good, or was Spence not as good as we thought? But I think it was more so that he was more damaged and he had to take the fight. I mean, he couldn't just back out of it. It is what it is. And, like you said, he hasn't returned to the ring. So I think he just done. The thing about a fight, too, you get knocked down. Look at Roy Jones Jr. Once he got that first knockdown, he was never the same.
It's over. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And then, so I was going, I was doing my research on you. And I was noticing, like, I forgot that you was in Ghost Dad. That was your first movie. Yeah, but I was like, damn. So I saw Bill Cosby was in there, of course, but then I didn't know Sidney Poitier directed it.
Yeah, when he hear
crazy for my first movie.
Listen to this, the crazy story. Guess what? I didn't remember. I didn't remember that my brother was on set with me, and I filmed a documentary about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm kind of just sitting on because we're gonna add to it. You never know. It's weird doing a documentary about yourself. It's like, here's my life, and it's kind of. But anyway, so I remember I asked my brother to be in it, and I was talking to my mother about filming the documentary because I needed her to be in it. So we went to her house, and she's got all the artifacts and the trophies and everything, and she shows my camera crew around, and then she goes, "You gonna interview your brother?" And I said, "Yeah." He said he's gonna film himself and give me some tidbits about me growing up as an actor. And she goes, "You should ask him about the Ghost Dad story when he got thrown off your set." And I looked at her like, Mom was getting old. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't remember this at all. And I talked to my brother and I said, "Yeah, man, so I'd love to interview about my early days, early career, this and that I was kind of doing in a documentary." And he goes, "I should tell him about when I got thrown off a Ghost Dad." And I was like, "Oh, that really happened?" And I don't want to tell too much of the story because it's in my documentary too. Well, that's fine. I'll tell it. So basically, he was there just kind of coaching his little brother, right? But Sidney Poitier was the director, right? So he's talking to me and he's saying, "Yeah, man, you're doing pretty good. I think you should loosen up, blah, blah, blah." Giving me some general advice. And I'm always listening to my brother like, okay, whatever it is, right? And Sidney Poitier yells from across the screen, "Who is that talking to my actors?" get him off the set immediately. Go. And they made my brother leave and go wait in my trailer for the rest of the day while I finished shooting that scene for that day. I had no idea. And of course, he was humiliated, embarrassed, whatever the case was. But the next time he saw Sidney Poitier, he was on the biggest stage ever, accepting his Oscar. You know what I'm saying? And I remember he said he saw him and Sidney was a great actor. He had no idea who he was yelling at or what something like that will do to somebody and where it'll take them. You know what I mean? Message.
And then, I want to fast forward a little bit.
Come on.
So my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time is Baby Boy. You played that role so good. I still kind of don't believe it's you. It's like from where you was at, and then that role, I'm like, and you played it like so, like that's my favorite movie. Then my quotables, you be like, I don't want to go to heaven. God be like, turn your ass around, nigga. Yo. And then you like, I was at Madden House playing. I was at Do Dirty House playing Madden all day. Like, but you played.
What's crazy about Baby Boy? One is R.I.P. John Singleton. This man was arguably the most gifted writer-director of all times. Forget black, white, color. The fact that he wrote that script, and I mean, because it's interesting, people that are writers, us writers, we know that there's a process in everything except maybe rapping. Message. I write all my lyrics. Anything you ever hear me spit, I wrote, right? Unless it's a hook. Maybe somebody will say, I got a hook idea, cool, and then we'll, but then I let them do the hook, or maybe I'll do some ad-libs on or something like that. But in the world of like movies and television, you usually write the basic idea, and then you have writers that come in and pick away at it. Now, movies, there's always room for improv. You know what I mean? So, when they see Baby Boy, they be like, man, we know you. I know you probably did that. Freya was probably all you. Or that line where you said unstable creatures, that's something your ass came up with, right? I'm like, absolutely not. It was all 100% John Singleton. If you find the original script of Baby Boy, there's just more in it. There's other scenes that we filmed that didn't make the cut. There's other scenes we were supposed to film that we didn't get to, and so forth and so on. But every single word, except for maybe an N-word here or a curse word there, were everything quotable and iconic was all John Singleton. It was crazy. I was like, you wrote this? It was crazy, bro. He let us. I've told the story a bunch of times about me and Ving Rhames getting into the altercation because we were just rehearsing in the heat of the moment, or me and Tyrese's, relationship because he wanted this and I wanted that, and we didn't, kind of butted heads, but whatever. But we had a 2-week period where we were doing rehearsals, and in the rehearsals we were able to pretty much say what we want because they were improv. It was, the only thing I remember my best day when I went crazy. Everybody was like, "Wow, you really stepping it up." John was like, okay, yeah, good job, man. But, just try to stick to the script. We all laughed about it because I was just so locked in. I was just saying any old random thing just to throw people off because I was really fired up. But once that was our only time we could really play with it. Once we got the script, you then have a person whose job, we call them scripty. Their job is to make sure you're saying the right lines. When you finish the line and cut, okay, scripty will walk over you and say, yeah, it's unstable creature. Unstable. Yeah. All right. Come on. Next thing, what I mean? Here's the prayer. It's dear Lord, not hey Lord. Okay. All right. Let's go again. What I mean? So he was so gifted as a writer that it still blows me away to this day. Especially all the messages that he puts in his movies that he's not really preaching. He just puts it out there and either you pick it up or you don't. I mean, you look at Boys in the Hood with my brother, let me out the car. You know what I mean? If more brothers would have been, I wouldn't say brave enough, but had the wherewithal or the presence of mind to say, you know what, this ain't, let me out, bro. I can't do this. More brothers would be alive to this day, and Baby Boy, when Tyrese looks at himself, when he looks at Snoop rather, and is about to shoot him, but he sees himself, you know what I mean? That's why he doesn't shoot. And of course, I got the hero role in many people's eyes, and me included, that goes, well, I'll shoot him. You know what I mean? He just shot at my house and my baby, come on, baby, But the message was, if more brothers see themselves getting shot, that we're killing each other, then maybe they won't pull the trigger and more of us will be alive today. So,
yeah, and I saw a meme. It was showing it was saying you and Angela cleaned up y'all life, and that's how y'all end up on Family Time.
Angel.
Yeah,
that's funny. Which was another wild coincidence, man. I met Bentley Kyle Evans, who was the creator of. He was the creator of Family Time. Executive producer. He's executive producer on Jamie Foxx and also on Martin. So he also had a show called Love That Girl. And they offered me a guest role on there. And I did the one guest role. And I remember I had to have a Southern accent, and I've never done accents really before on camera. So I know a friend of mine who was from the South who always said already. That's what he would say on every other word. He said already. So that's just what I did. I just added already to every line, and they loved it. And he was like, man, I got this other script I want you to read. It's called Family Time, and you would be, the lead. And I'm like, let me read it. And I read it, and I auditioned, and like the next day he called me. He's like, you're my guy. We're starting on Monday. I was like, damn. And he's like, I'll send you the script over the weekend. And he sent me the script, and I'm flipping through the script. I always go to the cast first, and I look at the cast lineup, and the second person on there is Angel Conwell. And I went, damn. Because, of course, we had a relationship after the movie and for like 3-4 years. You know what I mean? And then, but this is now 10 years, some odd later now. Now I met my wife, I got my girlfriend. You know what I mean? It's a whole different thing. So I'm like, I got some explaining to do when I get home. People think, oh, you hired your ex-girlfriend? Hell no. That was his thing. It was a coincidence. But we luckily remain good friends. So the chemistry still was there.
Yeah, because I saw a lot of, like, somebody is like uploading a lot of y'all episodes on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching them, like, it's like that show and then In the Cut. But I like both shows, man. Like, both shows are really good. I feel like they kind of got slept on.
Yeah, that's another guy that's a great writer-director, man. Bentley Kyle Evans, man. And, he's got a team, but he's a very gifted writer. Like, to have his history and his resume, Jamie Foxx and Martin, it's kind of hard not to be, you know what I mean? And he's got a new show coming up too that they're working on, man. I had to stop by the set and pop in, man. So hats off Bentley, man. Congratulations, brother.
And then what's next for you, far as with your acting roles?
So with acting is dope, man. I've never stopped. I've got movies that I keep that I've been a part of, right? I've got one coming out called News Cycle by Roger Green Jr. III, who's a friend of mine that I've known for years. He's big in the music industry, and he's now transitioned over into movies. So when he called me with this script, I read the script. And when I got to the end of it and finished the script, I called him and I said, who wrote this fucking script? It's like me. And I said, I didn't mean to offend you, but this thing is awesome. And I can't wait to help you get it on its feet. And we filmed it out in Atlanta. It's a phenomenal story. It's got superb acting. We're almost finished with it. You're going to see us ramping up the promos for it and so forth coming on. But it's called News Cycle. Look out for that. I have a series that I'm a part of right now called Papa's Baby, where I play another type of character that I think my fans haven't seen yet. He's just raw. He's all bad guy, but with like a little bit of a sweet spot. He's hood rich. And his name is Snake. I get tattooed. I don't even have any tattoos. I got tattoos for this, prosthetic beard and all type of stuff, and it's got action. It's really, really well written. Shout out to Nikki, man. She's awesome. So that's what we're working on now. So that'll probably be out towards the end of the year. I've got another film. I got a couple new films that I signed on. The phone's been ringing a lot lately. I don't know if you heard about this Cameron beef that I have going on, as we call it. But it's funny. It's what they say. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Oh my God.
Right. Never.
Everyone's like, oh, really? Oh, that movie. Yeah, that's terrible. So can you be in mine? We got a movie too. So is that still your price? Oh, a little bit more? Okay, fine. Whatever you like. It's been crazy. So with that, I also do stand-up comedy now, which the funny thing about it, no pun intended, is that it was always a dream of mine to do stand-up comedy, right? But I never thought it would happen. Like I would sit in traffic and just like go over ideas and be like, oh, wow, and then I would say this and da da da. And I'd work out routines in my head, and then I'd get somewhere and try to remember what I said and forget the whole thing. And I'm just like, how do stand-up comedians do it? It perplexed me. I'm like, how the hell do they get up there for 20, 30 minutes in front of people going, make me laugh and make people laugh? Like I've been somewhere and I say, yeah, I'm funny. Like, yeah, tell me a joke. And I'm like, man, shut up. Like you can't just be funny on demand. Oh, yes, you can. And the first person, the most bravest person that I know is my sister, April Gooding, who's 1 year older than my brother. To the day, they actually share a birthday, January 2nd. It's hilarious. And
that's my birthday.
January 2nd? Come on now, small world. Come on now. How you like January 2nd? My sister always hated the birthday because she was like, it's right after Christmas. Everybody's still just
and
like
New Year's.
And then New Year's, everybody's hungover, so nobody likes to have a party on the 2nd. So she always does a party like on the 10th or something, or like the next weekend. But she out of the blue calls me and my brother and says, yo, I'm doing stand-up tonight. And we're like, what? Excuse me? And we show up at the Improv of all places, and there's a whole lineup of people. She goes second to last, kills it, and then when she gets off, Seinfeld comes up. I'm like, baby, you opened up for Seinfeld? And I asked her how, and she's like, well, I've been going to this class, and they help you develop your your set, you'll come up with like 5 or 6 jokes, whichever the best one is, the one that everyone laughs at, you keep that one. Next week, you write some more jokes. And by process of elimination, you build a set. You take the best of the best of the best till in your heart, all right, I got a good set here. Then you go out and you try it out in front of people and, you add a little bit to it. You slow down the joke, you stretch it, and then you develop and develop and develop it over time. So even with that story, I still was like, yeah, well, good luck. But then something happens that changed a lot for me, especially in my career, the actor strike. Now, I had just signed on to a series to be like one of the new Disney dads. This series was called Saturdays. It filmed out in Chicago. I had to relocate, get an apartment out there, have my kids out there, all that. We filmed. It was about the roller skating culture in Chicago. We had to take skating lessons. By the end of the season, I'm sliding around, not like Usher, but close. I could do my thing now on some skates. Let's put it that way. But I had 2 left feet before then. But so shout out to Josh Batsmoke, who is one of the best skating team. You want to learn how to roller skate, anything on 4 wheels, holla at Josh, holla at Mr. Batsmoke out in Chicago. And so anyways, we're doing this thing. And it's funny thing about Disney is like, they're like, if, what happens when the series is you audition. And this is right during the pandemic too. It was like it was 21, I believe. At the end of 21, I remember we did a Zoom interview. So I read the lines, boom, 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 and I booked it off of just from here to here. You know what I'm saying? And then, we made the offer, and the contract was extensive, but it was going to change everything as far as how I could act. Like there were a lot of stipulations in the contract where I had to be conscious of Disney. I wouldn't have been able to be a rapper, not the way I want to be. I wouldn't be able to, this beef I got, all the stuff I'm talking crazy about, like, oh, damn, that's Omar. I couldn't do none of that as a Disney dad. So that wouldn't have been possible. I also wouldn't have been doing stand-up, which I absolutely love doing. But what happened was we did 1 season. We're gearing up for season 2. Everybody's excited. We hadn't got an official pickup, but the ratings were good. It was the first Black showrunner. Shout out to Norman Vance Jr. On an all-Black show on Disney ever. So we knew we were breaking the mold. We were setting new trend. Like, this is it. We were so excited. And then the writer's strike happened. And then the acting strike happened. And when the acting strike happened, I'll tell you, 2 things that have changed my way of life ever: the pandemic and the actor strike. The pandemic changed everything because now a lot of people are working from home, and companies are realizing that they don't need this many employees, and they don't have to worry about parking spaces and So people are getting laid off. People are finding ways to just have a camera set up in their house and making money and so forth and so on, right? And then this writer strike, I keep saying writer because it started as a writer strike. The actor strike, which I was pissed about because I was a working actor. I've always been a working actor. If you look at my IMDb, there's something on every year that I've done, like at least 4 or 5 every month, right? So this was just the next chapter. I was like, I'm the Disney dad now. I'm learning how to roller skate. I got all this, blah, blah, blah. Checks is good. Everything's great. And then this strike happens, and I'm like, all right, no, there's a hold on any type of word about pickups, right? Then you got all these actors that are on the picket line striking. And I'm like, fucking get off the picket line, especially all the kids that are on this show with me. I'm like, no, get off the line. I don't know. Because I believe everybody, why the higher up, they're all watching. Oh, you out there striking, huh? Okay. And it seemed to me, you'd have to fact check this. I'm not sure how, but it seemed like every news show, I might call this a cop out if you want. Maybe they just wouldn't have got picked up. But I believe in my heart, it felt like they were like, oh, you guys out there striking? Like, okay, well then let's strike this new series. If you don't have 2 or 3 seasons under your belt, you're not getting renewed. So a couple of shows got renewed. The rest of them all went to the wayside, which was our show. And something else vanished since then. Pilot season. Pilot season is television actors' bread and butter. Every year you get ready for pilot season. When pilot season is coming up, for those who don't know pilot season, it's when all the new shows are created. All the writers submit their shows, and then they develop them into pilots, and then you get cast in the pilot. Then you got to wait and see if the pilot gets sold, and then it goes to series, and then you hope every year that it gets picked up for a new series and so forth and so on. But it all begins in pilot season. That's gone. There's no more pilot. There hasn't been a pilot season since the strike. So it's just been like, here's a role here or there, blah, blah, blah. So I had to, reinvent myself again, and I remember my brother saying, yo, the strike is about to happen. You better knuckle down. I'm like, bro, you think my only way for me to eat is through acting jobs? Like, trust me, I got more. And he's like, I know. I'm just trying to give you some advice, but good luck, right? So I started taking jobs as like a host. I started a comedy room in LA. I developed my own series called Funny AF. We got our first season is on Tubi, good old Tubi. Everybody like crack jokes about Tubi, but boy, they cut the checks, man. Come on now. I developed my own series where I was just the host. I still wasn't fully a stand-up comedian, but the first couple episodes, I just said a couple of little jokes here and there, and then I got off stage and I had another guy. I'm sorry, let me take it back. I wasn't even a host. I was the presenter. I was doing the Def Comedy Jam. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless. Good night. That's really what I was doing. But I was doing first. The Russell Simmons. I was coming out early, welcoming everybody to the show. Have a good time. I had a rap song that I made. Ironically, is about the Lakers. It's called "Welcome to the Show." It's a show. You can go find this right now. It's streaming. It's on an album that I dropped about 3 years ago called Succession. And it's for the Lakers. I got my kids at the beginning of it, amping it up, and then boom, boom. But I used the intro of that as the intro to my comedy series, where I invited a lot of stand-up comics that I knew that were local. Some flew in from out of town. It was great. And shout out to, again, the One Shot Films and Curtis Ellison. And we partnered up and produced this series and put it on Tubi, right? That led to me being invited to host a comedy. It was an award show that Hope Floods does every year. And I was one of the hosts, me and Tori Hart, right? Mm-hmm. So we get up there and I'm snapping. I'm cracking jokes, and it's in front of all of Black Hollywood's elite stand-up comics, right? We gave award to Bentley Kyle Evans that night, D.L. Hughley, Chris Spencer came up, and when Chris came to accept the award, he leaned over to me and said, "Hey man, you're doing your thing up here on stage, bro. You belong up here as a comic." I was like, "What?" Right? And that had me fired up, man. All my favorites were in the building. The Tories were there. My man Michael Collier was there. It was a great night. And then I got offered to do some. I actually got offered a headlining job, which was crazy. It's like, damn, let me get some sets under my belt before I jump straight into headlining. So I went on the road and I created a tour called the We Out Here Comedy Tour. My partner Charles Allen, him and I, and we also teamed up with Charlie Mack, and we took that around the country doing the We Out Here Comedy Tour. We got a booking agent and we started going boom, boom, boom. And I was just the host to begin with. But then Charles Allen told me, he said, "Man, you need to just try doing a whole set." And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try it." So, this was right after the Montgomery Brawl happened. You know what I mean? And I remember this was my first joke that I had written. I walked out on stage and had a white guy come out first, and he killed it. And then when he was done, he walked over and he was like, "Hey, y'all make some noise for your host for the night, Omar Gooding." And then I come out and I whisper in his ear, I tell him, "Go off stage that way." And he goes, "No, I want to go this way." I go, "No, Brock, you need to go that way." He goes, "No, I want to go this way." And I take my hat that I got on and I throw it in the air. So at the time, everybody knew it was the Montgomery Brawl joke. Everybody falls over laughing on the floor. I had on the white shirt, black shorts, just like the dude that threw the hat up in the air. You know what I mean? And I wrote all these jokes and the Aqua Boy swimming across and all that. And once you have a good opening, it's just like the ball was rolling. Right? And I remember I did all the jokes back to back to back. And I was like, "That's my time, y'all." And I remember them going, "Oh." I was like, "Damn, that's a dope response." I was like, "But I'll be back later," so forth and so on. And I got off stage and I was like, man, I felt like 10 minutes. I was trying to do 15. And they looked at me and said, "Man, that was 18 minutes. I said, "I did 18 minutes of stand-up." They said, "Yeah, man." It's like, and if you would stop talking so fast, it would have been probably 20, 30 minutes, because I was just like full of energy. And I've just kind of honed it. And then I went in my first stretch as a headliner. I went to Virginia and I did 5 shows in 3 nights. And the first show was at a Dave & Buster's. I was like, they do comedy at Dave & Buster's? But they had this big auditorium inside it, and it was completely sold out. And I was the last guy to go up, and it was clean comedy at that. No cursing and no profanity. I was like, good luck. But I killed it, man, and the rest has been history. So I add that to my bag. Now, me and Mark Curry are going on tour. We got our first gig September 6th. Like
a reunion tour, ain't it?
It's like a reunion tour, brother. He was like, "We need to do the Hang with Mr. Cooper tour." I'm like, "Hey, speaking into existence. We need to do the Hang with Mr. Cooper reboot, baby. I'll do that." You know what I mean? But I'm also writing a series now with my writing partner, Esmail Motorberry. I won't tell you too much about that because we're developing this thing. But between that, stand-up comedy, I keep hinting at this Cameron thing, this album that I'm dropping. It was an album that I had already put together. When the Cameron beef started, I started making records aimed at him. So that's all separate from my album. Now I'm in the process of separating myself from that. People are like, "Oh, so all you do is make this record?" No. I'm from the hip hop era, the hip hop golden era, if you will, where the true tragedy in hip hop was Tupac and Biggie because lyrically they were on par. They were exceptional rappers. And for them to both die, I think that's really what changed hip hop. It kind of made the new kids coming up a little scared to be confrontational, in my opinion. And then it just turned into something else. You had the mumble rap, you had the designer drugs everybody was doing, and it was just more like they just wanted to party and have a good time, which is fine, but it seemed like it lost a lot of its substance. So after Kendrick and Drake had their beef, I felt it was time. It was like, wait a minute, I think they're listening now again. Like the penmanship was at work. Drake was the best of his era. Still is. I mean, he's a monster. You can't deny this man's hits. Even when they found out he wasn't writing his own shit, it didn't stop him. Is that crazy?
It didn't matter, yeah.
It didn't matter. Because I remember they played his first song, the original songs that he supposedly stole, or whatever the case was, and we heard it and it was like,
with Miller.
I'm good at all. When Drake redid it, I was like, that sounds good. You know what I mean? So more power to the guy. But again, I'm from the right. Remember, Eminem, everybody kept throwing jabs at him like, he don't even write his own shit. And it didn't matter, which is crazy to me. Now, I'm still from that era, write your own shit. That's just how I feel, because it makes no sense to me. But to each his own. But the fact that Kendrick came out on top and ain't nobody ever questioned his pen, made it so that now that they're listening, I'm like, cool, let me drop some bars on these people. And I got a lot in the tank, a lot to give. I always have something in the chamber. I always got something on my sleeve. This is an actor at heart. That's what I am. I'm an actor. My hip hop career has been parallel. I haven't had the time, quite honestly, to really focus on that.
Man,
you know what I mean?
I was like, you should have just dropped a double album after Baby Boy.
Right. But I don't think it would have been accepted. Maybe, but maybe not. If I did, it would have to been like gangster rap, which I don't do. You know what I mean? I do Baby Boy, and then I come out and then I'm like gun bars and slap them out my head, and like, nigga, wild and crazy kid, knock it off. Like, you know what I mean? Because that was always the obstacle. Every time I said I rap, they kind of like, oh, like you did on Smart Guy. Well, you and Jason Weaver need to do a little duet album, and then like, bro, I'm not conscious rap. I'm like a backpacker. You know what I mean? But it's all about being creative. If you can teach or put some bars of wisdom in there or something to make somebody think or maybe change the way people think or perceive us. What I hated was that back in the day, in the Tupac and Biggie era, you could say I rap and people of other genres and races would go, oh, you're a rapper. Wow. Then it turned after them into something like I rap. Oh, really? Oh, you do that, better. I rap too. Anybody could rap. And I was like, damn, where'd the respect go? You know what I mean? And I think now, again, it's turning back into that, so that when you say rap and people are like, oh, let me hear it. They go, oh, wow. A lot of people in the industry know that I rap. But no one wants to take that chance of, oh, I'm partnering up with this guy.
You spitting too. And then I was going to shout out M80 because them beats, like all them beats you was using against the cam beats, them cam battles, them beats hard.
Most of them with M80 Now, M80, it's so funny too. So M80 has done like 90% of my album. I've got friends that I've known for a long time. Like shout out to Focus. Focus and I did an album called The Excuse. It's on Spotify. Go look it up. It'll make you say, wait a minute. I put it out under Big O. See, some of my music is hard to find because I use my rap name. My nickname is Big O. I'm a big guy. 6'1", over 250. People see me, they be like, oh, damn, I know you're this big. We expect actors to be 5'10" and 170. When they see me, they go, oh, that's why they call you Big O. So when I spit, that's what I rhyme. I even, I'll slang and then, when I write, I'll say something about Big O and so forth and so on. So that's what I put my music out under until my father passed away. And my father passed away was when I became a father 8 years ago, right? So it was I became a father, and then it was about 4 months later, my father passed, and I felt a heaviness. I felt come on, man. He was always trying to revitalize, and his career was what it was. He had big hits in the 70s. He went out to Africa, came back, and was blacklisted because he shouldn't have went out there during apartheid and all that craziness and all the politics of it, which I don't fully understand. I just know they said you shouldn't go. When he came back, he got blacklisted. So he spent the rest of his life, the majority of my life, trying to revamp, kind of just get back on top again. And he kept pushing it. When he passed away, I found an album of his that was phenomenal, man. And my mom then picked up the reins, and now she's got his music, and they're starting it up again. And she's gonna try to, re-release his stuff that he was about to put out, and so much stuff. And it was
using the main ingredient, right?
Main ingredient, yeah. Everybody plays
the fool.
Yeah. Just don't want to be lonely, rolling down the mountainside, man. He has some hits on there, man. He's done a lot of albums. I'll still hear music. Man, he's like, yeah, that's your dad.
I heard
how someone
the Legacy song.
Say it again.
I heard your song Legacy.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I was like, man, it's a lot of that was a real deep song.
Yeah. Oh, I'm slowing down here.
What you want?
We still here?
Yeah, I'm here. Your screen black though.
Oh, wait a minute. Can you hear me now? I can't hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right,
you just went out. That's weird, huh?
I know I should. I got lazy. I keep trying to do this on my cell phone. I should have hooked up the computer so that I can hear everybody. I don't know if you can. You said you can't hear me. I keep talking if you hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. You just ain't on the air no more.
So the thing about the Legacy song was, my father's hit was Everybody Plays a Fool, right? And it was one of those songs that I don't believe he was able to showcase all of his. Oh, you getting back?
No, I was trying to see. Yeah, here you go.
Okay. Turn this off and turn this on. You're in the show. Everyone can see you. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. You ain't on the camera no more.
Oh.
Yeah, he'll be back. We'll just wait on him. What's up, y'all? Let me play his music right quick. He'll be back. Hopefully. I don't know. See if he come back in. What's up with y'all, though, man? He'll be back.
The whole squad on the mission, you got to listen. We PoPolitickin, it's so dope when it kick in. You can get in where you fit in. We straight PoPolitickin. The whole squad on the mission, you got to listen. You know what this is when we PoPolitickin. My money long like division, a proposition to put a fist in. We straight PoPolitickin. Hey yo, I rise like the sun in the east, running the streets. Same people that was coming in peace, some in the beast on the microphone. It's never a long and hard task. For God, I'm gonna smash they blog and podcast. Introduction to journalism 101 with Pharaoh PoPolitickin, about where I'm from and what I do. What's up? It gotta be good. Interviewing everybody, you know they probably could. Take all the blood, sweat, and tears, working all them years, putting in 10,000 hours. It empowers careers from the baby and Megan Thee Stallion to Yo Gotti. High as a kite, jet life, currency in the party with MC Light. J Prince said I rap a lot. Super Saiyan Black Kakarot with a Macintosh laptop in my Apple Watch, smoking Fraggle Rocks. 4 eyes, got more lines and hooks than a tackle box. What? The whole squad on the mission, you got to listen. We PoPolitickin, it's so dope when it kick in. You can get in where you fit in. We straight PoPolitickin. The whole squad on the mission, you got to listen. You know what this is when we PoPolitickin. My money long like division, a proposition to put a fist in. We straight PoPolitickin. Okay, any views expressed are the opinion of the guest. It's not a representation because the programming reflects that PoPolitickin with 4 eyes. It's really no competition. Suffocating with the dope, you know I be twisting. Real ninjas out in the field, now we cotton picking. Not to mention our intention to cover topics and many of the subjects. I got more lines than the deli at the Publix. With King Pharaoh, PoPolitickin, I'm pistol whipping. Rappers jeopardizing hip-hop position. My opposition, intuition, prediction like writers on The Simpsons. To witness the glimpses from higher up dimensions. My bitches be fighting gremlins like Phoebe Cates. Let me cook, stovetop oven, easy bakes. Hydroponic with them seaweed flakes. Yeah, these rappers started from the bottom. Power bottom, TD Jakes. Unfollowed, talking about have you ever been swallowed? Regardless of race, color, or creed, you get Apollo. We PoPolitickin. ticking. We straight pole, politickin, ticking. When it's a great show, you got to listen. Listen to that pole, politickin, ticking. This for the pole, politickin, ticking. We straight pole, politickin, ticking. When it's a great show, you got to listen. Listen to that pole, politickin, ticking.